If you know how to play chess, and maybe you've played lots, maybe you're even a pretty decent player, but you haven't ever learned proper theory, then this video is for you. This video is the first of a 4-part series of short videos which will teach you your first bit of important and easy chess theory, which you can use in your games to instantly explode your rating. The first video is about the start of the game. What should you generally do? Well, every great player follows 3 main opening principles. Here is the first. Control the center. Here is the center. I want you to think of it like a hill, a piece of high ground in a war, if you will. If you control these squares and put your pieces there, everything will be way easier. Things will just start going your way. Trust me. So it makes sense why the best starting moves is either d4 or e4. Now, preferably, you would love to get both of these moves in. So let's say your opponent plays something awful, like a5, then we could get both e4 and d4, taking full control of the center. This is the best case scenario. Your opponent probably won't let this happen if they're a good player, but we'll get to that. So that is opening principle number 1, control the center. On to principle number 2, which is develop your knights and bishops. Let's start with knights, and I'll keep making awful moves for black. Okay, where should we move this g9? Remember, the center matters. Feel free to pause the video. So moving the knight to the side of the board, how many central squares does that control? Let's see. None. Okay. What about here? Yeah, it's nice. It controls 1 central square. However, it also blocks the bishop. This is why generally the best places for the knights are here and here. Together, they control every central square. The knights are great here. The bishops are much easier. Bishop f4, let's say. Bishop c4. Here and here will do fine, but so will like any of these squares, to be honest. Finally, the last and arguably most important opening principle, castling. If you don't know what this is, that's the way to protect your king. Here's how you do it. If there's nothing between your king and your rook, you can move your king 2 squares, which is usually illegal, and have your rook jump over next to it. Again, usually illegal. Moving both pieces in 1 turn, again, illegal. But it's possible here. You can also castle on the queen side, by the way, so long as there's nothing between them. So imagine queen d2. You can also castle this way. Same thing. King goes 2 squares, rook jumps on the other side. If you can achieve these opening principles without challenge, then your game will fall into place. You will get easy attacks, and your opponent will find it impossible to attack you. Now, as I mentioned, your opponent probably won't allow you to do this. If they play this on their first move in rebuttal, then you realize, oh, they're also trying to achieve those same opening principles. Huh. What now? Well, just do what you can. You can learn a specific opening. There's like 1,000 openings with names. Or you can just follow these same steps from before. Okay, so what were the 3 opening principles again? Pause the video if you want. 1, control the center. 2, develop your knights and bishops. 3, castle your king. So they've stopped us from playing our pawn in the center, because if we do, we're giving up a pawn for free. So we can't do that. But at least we have some stake in the center. So now we move on to the next principle, knights and bishops. It doesn't matter really which one you pick. Let's just say you bring out your bishop, and let's say your opponent also plays good moves. They develop their knight. They move their central pawn as far as they can forward. And maybe you take them. Maybe you decide to take them. They take back. You bring out a bishop. They castle. You castle. Okay, so here everything's equal because both players followed the opening principles well. Okay, what can you do? Well, move on to part 2 of this video series to find out how to get an advantage in the middle game. See you there.